Hi Mridul. Thanks for joining today. So as we were discussing this particular videos for this channel, we are focusing on people with first generation who are first generation graduates or people from rural areas who would like to have a career guidance and career path. People who have traveled through that path, and we would like to meet them and know their experience. So thanks for joining, and people who are seeing videos in this channel, please don't forget to subscribe the channel. And let's now start the interview with Mridul. Mridul, can you please tell about yourself? How when did you come to Canada, and what was your background?
Yeah, thanks Venkatesh for having me. So I'm originally from Delhi. I came right after my 12th standard. I graduated to my 12th standard. I had in 11th, 12th PCM or non-medical that we call it, physics, chemistry, maths, and I came here pretty much because I thought there's at that point as well, and even now I feel there's not a lot of opportunities to the level of and the level of technology and infrastructure is just not there. Um, and overall, I did visit Canada when I was little. I did like it, so it was a natural choice. I went to Sheridan College for a 3 year advanced diploma in computer systems technology, in which you learn programming basically on different languages, the web development, and now the courses are also changing. So my course has a different name now, and different courses. That's also something that I knew that happens outside and in Canada, that um, courses change based on the industry needs, which is I don't think happens at that pace, or it's that dynamic in India. Right now, I graduated my college in December 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Then since then I was working at Woodbine. I also got laid off due to COVID. Then I got another job at different companies. And then I'm back at Woodbine. I'm currently on a desktop analyst role, which is
Right.
kind of like system admin role, and I like it. It has a good work-life balance. I like my company. I like my colleagues, and it's it's a lot of learning opportunities. So you get your hands on a lot of different technologies, and you are able to work with the application team, security team, networking team. So it's a mix of everything. That's why I like it.
Right.
I'm also people person, I think. So I like talking to different. I like solving problems, and I like talking to people. So this was a nice role.
Right. So you came directly to after you finish your 12th standard from India to do your higher education here in Canada. So how was this research experience? Like, how did you how did you start researching on the in colleges that can accept people directly from 12th standard, from the point that how did you prepare your statement of purpose? I know colleges here admit students based on the statement of purpose. So how did you prepare that? On what aspects did you prepare that statement of purpose? And what was the criteria for the university to admit you? Do you think, Ritu?
The if you look on any website in Canada, I think it's very basic that you have to have certain number of marks, like aggregate that this much you need to have either after 12th or after graduation if you're coming for PG. Even for that, they have a certain mark. So if you should qualify for that. In Canada, especially, the IELTS, that's the examination you need to give, the
Mm-hmm.
academic version of it. Um, it consists of four parts: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. You need to have a minimum band that the college, again, like it provides on their website on, and it might be different for different courses because um, the programs are going to be predominantly here in English. So they need to know that you understand it to the level that you will be able to successfully complete the program.
Right. So was that your 12th examination board? Was it specifically anything like CBSE? CBSE, right? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I graduated from CBSE.
CBSE, right? So that marks the is should we there be? I assume you should have got some equivalency to convert it to Canadian standards, so to for them to interpret the marks, or was it not needed?
No, so what happens is you just at that point, I was just asked to give, because when you apply the marks for 12th standard, they for finals they come in, maybe the results come in May.
Mm-hmm.
So and the process of admissions will be over by March or April.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, the college requires you to send what is they call predictive scores, and those predictive scores are written by your teachers and they're signed by the principal. So they give you a score based on your performance in the school that this student should get these many marks. Now there's, and at that point you get a conditional offer letter from the college. If you are accepted, in that condition letter there's a condition that too much variation in those marks will if that happens, they can retract that offer.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make sure that you give marks, or your teachers give you marks that you will be able to get close to or surpass. That's fair.
Right.
So that was one thing. The other is the SOP. You should, again, like whenever someone asks me why, in which, if they would just want to go out or come to Canada, I do ask them that why they want to come to Canada. Like there's so many other countries. There's also US, there's New Zealand, there's UK. So you need to know why only Canada and why really a particular province or a particular institution or a particular course. So you need to know, you need to be attracted to something. Like you need to be attracted by maybe Canadian nature. It is when it is really cold here sometimes, but it's really beautiful as well. I am attracted to that. I was attracted by the technology industry, how much it's growing, and so many opportunities, so many big companies coming into Canada and setting up their offices. So the industry was growing in itself, and I genuinely was interested in learning about technology. So if you have that drive towards a course, towards when you know what you want to do, the statement of purpose, you just mention all those things, and yeah, you need to mention links that if you're really interested in that, how you have been keeping up. It could have been that you were a part of a science exhibition competition, or you have been making the school website, something like that, or you have been studying online on your own on YouTube some courses, and you have made something, or you have learned something, or got a certification on LinkedIn as well. That also counts. So just link what you want to achieve to what you have been doing, so there's a connection. So the officer who reads it, or they know that, okay, yeah, this student really likes this course, so he will genuinely be trying to learn when he said.
Right. So that's awesome points, Mridul. So apart from these SOP and the main objective on the course, what are the other criterias that do you think the college needs apart from your prospective marks and the SOP? Are there any more things that someone needs to keep in mind when applying for the university?
It's nice if you have some extracurriculars. It's not all about academics. When you will come here, most probably you will be all alone on your own. So you need to have a hobby, and you need to be following that. Now, it can be that I was the head boy of my school, so that was my biggest thing for till 12th, that And then before that, also I was in student cabinet for multiple levels. I was good in sports. I was good. I had so many things to back me up that I will be able to, have a good life. Even if I'm alone, I'll be able to make just mix with everyone. That
Right.
I'll be good with multiple things. So it doesn't have to be multiple, but you should let them know that you're good at something other than academics. I think that's also something to keep in mind.
Right.
And even if you're not, if you really lie about it, I would recommend that you try something anyways, because when you really come here, you'll need some hobby to keep you busy, keep your mind off
Right.
thinking about back home or
Yes.
homesickness. It still happens. So if you're busy, you might not think about that too much, so it's
Right.
a good thing. So that's something. Other
Yeah.
than that, I don't think there's much. There should be a tough mind. Like it'll be tough here for the first couple of years. You'll be doing a part-time job. You'll be working alongside as well, maybe two part-time jobs sometimes. So um, yeah, and you need to adjust. You'll be moving a lot. If you don't find good roommates, you'll have to move again, then move again. So it'll be tough, but just remember that why you're here always. What's your goal,
Right.
and from where you have come, and where do you want to go to?
Right. Thanks for mentioning. Before I come to the finding settling part of the migration, I would like to know the second biggest thinking that one will have, like right from school to college in a different country. Going to a different city is a big thing for many people from rural background or first generation kids. Going to a different country. From the financial aspect, how do you think one can get it ready? What kind of support do we get back home from India and in Indian banking system or anything? Or what are the other options can one have? Is there something that you can give more information on that, Mridul?
Yeah, so there are some of my friends who did come here after graduation, and they came here on their own money. Some of them, like they did not take any money from their parents, so they had to take like study loans from India, and they got it right now. I think if you qualify, if you have an offer letter from um, a college, getting a study loan is not too much of an issue in India. So that part is good. The other thing is that I think if you're coming after 12th, or even even for PG, you should consider looking at scholarship options from your college. If you're coming in September, if you're getting admitted at that point, applications usually start in January, and the scholarship applications should be complete by February. So every college will have different criteria for giving scholarships. In that sense, like if you have extracurriculars, that would help. You just need to prove them that you are a little out of the herd. You're not like just academic, or maybe if you're academic, you're really good, like you have Olympiad medals, you've been topper of your class for like the past 3 or 4 years, so that would help as well. So scholarship is a good option. You can also get in touch with the university even before that. Like if the application's open in January, let's say, you can just email the international center at the college you're applying to and ask them that, hey, do you have any programs for me in which I can get some financial aid. Maybe there are programs that are not listed, or maybe if you tell them your situation and what you're planning, and if they really like you, they might be able to provide something for you. So that'll be nice. Um, these are the couple of things you should always keep in mind. But
Right.
because and the other part is when you come here, you do a part-time job anyways, right, to
Mm.
support yourself. So that's a whole different thing. Before coming here, I think those two are the most important things. Just making sure that you're applying your applications on time for scholarships, and that you're having documentation of your extracurriculars.
Right. I know that you did your course in computer science background, but just in case if someone decides to come after 12th, how should he or she should get the confidence in terms of that they will get a job for sure. Mridul, I know this is a kind of doubt everyone will have. Like, I'm moving to a new country. Will the course that I'm going to study, will I end up in a job? Is this college, this course, will there be a job prospect? Because everyone comes here not just for education, but to also to find a good job that will sustain a good lifestyle, right? So from that aspect, as a 12th graduate, what kind of things, how did you research to know for sure that yes, I'm going to study this college, this course, and I know that this will pay me off?
So again, this goes down to what interest you have, right? You should always do something that you like. First of all, just don't go after the job that's in the market. You should also like it, otherwise it's not really, it won't be something that you would want to do. It will be something you'll have to do. So that's a pretty big difference in a job. After that, you need to be a little bit proactive. If you are into technology, you would know that okay, which companies are the big four, big 10 companies, and you can just go to the website. Really, you can see how many job opportunities. If you filter in any country, or if you filter in just Toronto, how many job opportunities there are compared to that. How many graduates usually are there in a year. So based on that, um, you can get a pretty good idea. Really, just googling the right things will be important. And after that, you should also see that a country, technology is something that now every country needs, so it's a very good industry to be in. But something like marketing, some of my friends have did ask me that they wanted to go into marketing, and they wanted to be in Canada and get a job in marketing. And that's a very there are a lot of people that want the jobs, and there are not a lot of jobs. So it'll be helpful if you can reach out to someone that is doing that job in the country. Just reach out to them on LinkedIn,
Right.
and ask them their honest opinion of what how tough it will be to get their first job, because that's just a foot. Once you get your foot in the door, that's like an opening. Then you keep on growing. That's a different thing. But to get that first job,
Yeah.
you need a lot of you'll have to go through. And even in technology sometimes,
Right.
that getting that first job is it's like so important, because before that, if you don't have any experience, no one will really. You'll always have a kind of a backside that okay, this guy does not have any experience, so we're gonna give this to him.
Right.
It'll be like that.
So,
So research,
right.
and um, think about what that country does as well. Canada is not really big in manufacturing. So if you're coming here in a supply chain uh, manager line or something like that, it will be a little bit. It's going to be a little bit tough because Canada does not manufacture a lot of things. It might be a good place for warehousing or stocking up or inventorying, but not necessarily supply chain. So something like that, you just need to understand. You need to understand the country, and then what are its strengths, and based on that, the jobs will be quite logical. Like what sector will be most suited to you.
Right. I know that you did internship, Mridul. So how Sheridan College helps in finding the internship for undergraduate students? Can you uh, how the co-op department works there, how supportive they are, what kind of support do they provide, do they help you in preparing the resume and all. So what kind of support, how do companies come there for placement, or what kind of support happens, Mridul? Can you speak about the co-op placement at Sheridan?
Yeah. So co-op here means internship,
Yeah.
and both college and university courses have co-ops. Some of the co-ops are paid, some are unpaid. But it's a good thing that if you get co-op, you'll get industry experience, like hands-on experience. So even before leaving college, you'll have experience that you can show right after leaving college to companies. Sheridan specifically has a co-op department that, or they say, I think the name of the department is student opportunity department or something like that. So they help you make the resume. There's an actual class of, I think, 2 months that every student has to attend mandatorily, and in that they teach you to how to build a resume, how to keep up in your search for the jobs, and if you find anything and if you get an interview, they also help you in mock interviews. So it's a good help for someone, especially who does not have a lot of contacts here, who does not know a lot of people. It's a really good thing. But don't completely depend on them. They also tell you that there are other websites other than Sheridan, that Sheridan also posts its jobs on its own website for co-op, but it does tell you that don't just depend on these jobs. Search Indeed, search monster.com. There are so many other websites that you can, ZipRecruiter, so all the websites. Just keep searching, because like my first interview came after I applied for 130 jobs, and I got rejected 130 times, but I just kept applying. So it's just a lot of companies might not take you even for co-op. They for some co-ops they just need experience, even though it's co-op. They won't take you, and always be open to learning. That should be either in full-time, part-time. Co-op does not necessarily mean anything. You should always be open to learning. So when you get selected for an interview, I think the biggest point you should be proving is that you're open to learning, that you will be willing to do hands-on work a lot, and you won't be shy for asking for help.
Right.
That's something that's important.
Nice that you touched on how a candidate has to present himself when there is not much of a prior work experience, how he must present himself in an interview in a convincing manner, that he open for learning, and will not hesitate to ask for help if needed, and will do your hands on in terms of getting things done. That's something is what definitely I think you have touched on the way the candidate should present himself in an interview, Mridul. I have one follow-up question. Like you said, your teachers in the school will be giving the prospective marks the student will be getting in the exam. So I'm just wondering if that letter is on school's header, is it enough, or should you get any letter from the CBSE board saying that something supporting that he has some past mark, something? Is there anything, is the school's letter is enough, or is any other letter from the education board is also needed, Ritu?
No, the school's letter is enough. If it's a CBSE recognized school, the marks will, however, be only validated after the final marks of your 12th, right? So that result comes from CBSE themselves. So you will have to upload those marks anyway. So till that point, the offer letter will be conditional. So even though you pay your fee, even though you have a seat, everything can be reversed if your marks are not, if they're not in a range, so to speak.
Right. And so since an international student comes all on his own to a new country, How do we settle when you come new to the country? Like, how did you find your first place? Did you travel with anyone? Did you got to get to make networking even before traveling to Canada? Like, were there any Facebook page where you can connect with the students of the same college or Toronto, like people who come to the same city? Can you suggest anything on that, Mridul?
Yeah, so there are multiple platforms you can actually do it. Colleges and universities themselves reach out, especially to international students. Their international department reaches out to them. They let them know how really to prepare and even what to pack, like what kind of things they should be packing for the when if they are coming for the very first time in Canada. So most colleges do that. Some things are that you should not buy a lot of winter clothes because Indian winter clothes here are not really worn that much. Canadian winter and winter gear is very different. So the winter jacket you get here versus the jacket there, it's completely different. You will have to get winter boots here. So don't pack your stuff with unnecessary items. Pack with your stuff. Pack wisely because you'll have a certain amount of weight. And after they reach out, they will also connect you sometimes with a mentor. So a mentor might be a second year student who is also an international student who will share their experience with you personally, and they are getting paid for this. It is a real job. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to them, and they will let you know what to do. They will. A lot of colleges and universities go to the level that they're gonna receive you at the airport, and the student mentor who is there, they will find you a place for maybe the first month, and a very nominal fee compared to what the rent is here. Uh, there is also, I think. Rent for places. There's a website that's specifically for students that's used for renting, so you can use that. A lot of
Do you
people
know the
also.
website name, Mridul?
I am gonna just quickly search as well.
Right. Just wondering, in case if someone is watching this and it knowing the exact name might be useful for them, right? Especially.
Oh,
Uh,
it is rentforstudents.com. It is an
Okay,
actual.
very
Yeah,
straightforward name, rentforstudents.com. Okay, that's where you can research from India itself, and you can book a room and you can pay the rent so that you know where to go and stay when you land in the airport, right?
yeah. It might
That's
be just for 1 or 2 months, but it's a
right,
good thing.
right,
And there's also Facebook pages. So Facebook pages will. So my sister, she's in Ottawa. She had to go from here to Ottawa, from Toronto to Ottawa. So that is in itself a pretty big thing for me. So I also had to search for some kind of accommodation for her. I used their college's Facebook page. I found a PG where all girls lived. They were all Indians, and
right.
they were very honest, and they were open about everything. That yeah, we are all graduates from this college. Some are working right now, but we're still living together, and there are no issues. Usually, there are no issues, and if you really want to make sure that you're not getting into a scam or anything, and you don't pay like that. Some students, what they do is for the first 2 weeks or 10 days, they book an Airbnb, which is a little bit costly, but it makes sure that when you come here, you'll be in a place like home. So then you can search for a place. But I would prefer going to Facebook pages, going to the Kijiji marketplace as well. Kijiji, I don't think is a website in India. Kijiji is also a website here in which you can get
Yeah.
rentals.
Yeah, in
Rental.
Kijiji, all those places we had to have a star mark saying "Be aware of scammers." So don't pay them upfront. Sometimes they will not be. There won't be any house at all, right?
Yeah, so there are things like that.
Yeah,
But
college
again,
Facebook
if
pages
you
are really cool. I think, yeah, trustworthy. Like where you can discuss with other students who are also similarly looking. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's really nice.
So yeah, those are some of the places. And then if you get connected with them, the good thing is if you get connected with that on Facebook page with someone, you can now follow them on Instagram. You can actually know that it's a real person.
Right, right.
So that's a good thing.
Nice.
So these are some of the things you can do. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's that.
fantastic, Mridul. Can you say something about your course? Like, what did they teach you? Like, you came directly from 12th standard, so what did they taught you? And how did that 4 year? It was a 3 year program, you said. So, how did those 3 years went by, Mridul?
The first year was very quick. The first so big. I was excited as well, and so the college was basically it was programming. So there were coding languages. I focused mainly on Java. I learned. They taught me C sharp, .NET, Java, all the web development technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, C sharp, Java. What was that? jQuery, PHP, and Angular. So a lot of languages, including that, we had the option to take either Android or iOS. So either Swift or Kotlin or Java as programming languages to build mobile applications. So it was a lot of hands-on in India. If even in a degree course, I think a lot is theory, just memorizing things and writing it down on paper. But here it's really hands-on. I did not have to buy a book in my college. I it was everything was hands-on, pretty much. Like at least 80% of my course, I either be networking and security, or just networking in general, configuring switches, building firewalls, making a rainbow table. Um, and at the very end, this was so first year was pretty simple. Second year we had UML a little bit, so building workflows, and we also there were things that were core programming. There were things that were building workflows, how to how to make sure that you're following the right IT guideline policies, and then there were then the last year was a year-long project that you get to do with someone from the industry. So someone from the industry, let's say my company, is going to come to the college. They're going to pitch an idea, and then the students are going to select, okay, I like this idea, I want to build this for them. So you can either keep that idea or sell it to them. So you will be actually making you'll be making an actual website or an app that will be out there in the industry for you to brag about when you get out. So that was the last year's highlight, and it was a good course. It got over, and I'm happy I took that course. I don't think I should have taken this. So this was a nice course. I am happy where I
How
am.
many internships were allowed during this 3 year period? And just wondering, can you say something about that?
Yeah, so I got my first internship at Woodbine,
Right.
and
Like, how many
that
terms internships you are allowed to do internship? How many terms in this
oh,
three
it
year?
depends. It depends on the college. It depends on your program.
Right.
I think by law, you should have your course should be at 50% or more should be your course, and less than that duration can be internship.
Right.
So my course had 3 internship in 3 years, which started after I think the third semester. So after my halfway of my course, I got my first co-op. Then I had my fourth semester. Then I had my second co-op. Then I had my fifth semester, and then I had my third co-op, and then I had the last semester.
Right. And in
So
between, of course, Canada allows you to do part-time job, right? Yeah.
oh yeah. So I came like if your company, this is a good thing. Like I got lucky. If your company in your first co-op likes you and you like the job, they might offer you just come here part time. So my industry experience kept building because I was actually doing a job in my industry and not doing a job in Tim Hortons, or not saying they're bad jobs. It's just beneficial for me because they're my
Yeah,
industry
it
jobs.
aligns with what you want to do on a long term, right? Yeah.
So it co-op courses are beneficial because of that.
Yeah, yeah. And if it is paid, it will also help a lot in balancing your expense, right?
Yeah,
How much
most
do
of the
you say that as a student will cost to live in Toronto? And
in
just,
Toronto.
I mean, I
In
assume
Toronto,
that you was in Toronto, right?
in Toronto, in Toronto, even in general, people who have houses, it's expensive. So rent is going to be very high, definitely. If you move anywhere around GTA area, and you don't want to share, let's say you want to get your separate room, uh, I think you are looking at somewhere around $700 to $800 easily to get a personal room with shared kitchen, shared bathroom space, and no car parking. So that's in Toronto and GTA area. If you want to share, if you're okay with that, like if you and a friend of yours is coming and you're okay sharing one room, then you can do that as well. That would be much cheaper. You will be paying maybe like $400 to $350 per month. Uh, the food is now, as students, a lot of students either have tiffin services or they make themselves, or it's a mix of both, like they go out and either way you are looking now at I think 120 to $130 per month of just food that you eat at home. So that's that. I think it's almost 450 to $500 per month, and then you'll have the next big thing will be a phone bill, and yeah, that's it. So phone bills can be as low as $35 and as high as 110 to $120. It's, if you want a decent plan, I think you can get it by $50 $55. Um, so a minimum someone should be definitely thinking that how much they're going to spend will be about $700 to $750 the whole month if you're living in a shared space.
Right.
Uh,
So,
and then there's $100 extra, almost over $120 extra for transit because you need to travel. So for that as well, $120. So almost about $800 to $850.
$850 per month as a student, living expense, living, travel, transport, mobile, and
Yeah.
grocery expense. One can expect $800 to $850 a
You
month.
can go less.
Right.
It depends on how much you spend, but that's like the standard. You can
Right.
go higher.
Yeah.
There's no limit.
Yeah. And an average. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. And so after like when does students start looking for full time job in your particular course? When does students start to look for in a 3 year program, and how does the university, the college helps in that
So
sense?
it's yeah. Here it's not like you'll get in your second year or a third year or your second last semester companies coming in. Mostly it's not like that. Companies might come in and there might be job fairs, and you can learn about their opportunities, you can learn about the company, you can make networks, you can add people on LinkedIn and send your resumes there. But it's not like you'll be having interviews, you'll be going through a stages of a process or phases of selection of for a particular job. It won't be like that here. You'll be finding jobs on LinkedIn or Indeed or ZipRecruiter, any of these websites. And sorry, you asked about getting the jobs, and
I mean, what kind of support does the college provide?
oh, um, not much, to be honest. They can be, you can ask for a professor's referral
Hmm.
at the most. If there is a job the college is giving, that's a different story. Now if you really, if you like the job, and if you want to do that, then you can let your professors know, you can let the hiring manager know, or the manager who's actually going to be selecting the candidates know that you're really interested in the job, and they will know what you learned. So in that sense, that helps, but mostly colleges don't help like that.
Right,
You'll have to find a job on your own pretty
right.
much.
So that's also a reason why students have to engage really in terms of getting a hands-on during their 3-year program, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that, and there's just an expectation from you that you will definitely know these things by the end of your graduation. So if you're looking for a full-time job right after your graduation, you must have um, a certain number of skills, or a certain set of skills that you have learned throughout these years, because that's the standard. So
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
but the college is not going to help you
right.
too much.
Right, right. Sounds great, Mridul. Like you have covered pretty much like a lot of things, like from living expense to the how one has to apply for the college, things that you can get from the college and from the school and apply everything. A lot of things we spoke. Is Are there any final thoughts that you would like to share for those who come from abroad as an international student, like from your experience? These are the things you must keep in mind before starting your journey, or when you arrive, like these are the things that you need to do, like things, maybe there's some mistakes that you did that now you would like to share it with people, that you can please be aware that you need not do this, something like that.
Yeah, so I think Arrival is pretty much, we covered a lot. And if there is anyone who's watching this who have agents who can pay that much, and they have that connectivity, it'll be much more easier for them to get till here. But the main challenge actually starts after getting here. So making sure that you're getting up on time, staying healthy, uh, because no one's gonna take care of you here. You'll be doing everything in your house. Maybe you never had to do back home, but here, from cleaning to washing dishes to making food to pretty much everything, you'll have to do. And making good friends is really important in a country that you have never been in, and you don't know anyone. It gets kind of depressing really quickly. So it's important to make good friends, and they will help you in your career, in your personal life as well. You guys can explore together Canada, not necessarily just stay school friends, but go beyond that. And I have some friends who still help me in my my profession, like in getting jobs. Like I can take their referrals still. They are at good companies as well, and I will do the same for them, because I've known them since college. So I know really, even professionally, what they're capable of. So good friendships is important, and knowing what's good for you and what's just fun stuff. There are a lot of things that you'll get the thing that after 12, if you're coming after 12th, you'll get is freedom, because till 12th you were maybe with your parents or some relatives, or there was someone who was watching over you. When you come here, you're on your own. So that's a lot of freedom. We also have GIC coming in, so you have money every month that comes in the bank account, so you can
Yeah, GIC is a fixed deposit, right? Kind of
yeah,
fixed
it
deposit.
comes like you give it like $10,000 you
Hmm.
give before coming here, and then in small amounts it's gonna keep coming into your
Yeah,
bank
it is
accounts.
your money that you are allowed to take every month. Okay.
Yes. So making good choices in terms of how to spend money, and where to spend money is important. Uh, don't uh, don't look at all the shiny stuff. A lot of things here are like I personally I don't mind anyone doing it, but I personally think that if you're a student, marijuana, cannabis, it's legal here, so you can do it, but do it wisely. Don't gamble your money away, and just remember always that why you're here. Like if you're here for your studies, then make sure you set your priority to study, even if you don't have a part-time job. If you lose it for a week, try to keep your study your priority. Search for a part-time job. You'll get jobs anywhere, but you came here for studies, and that is what will make you successful at the end. So always know what your priorities are, and keep in touch with your family. They want to know how you are, and they want to experience a little bit of Canada from your side as well. So stay in touch with them, stay in touch with your friends back home, and never forget where you came from, like your roots. It's always important. No one in Canada is a Canadian. Mostly everyone's immigrant. So it's important to know um, where you're coming from, celebrate your festivals. Don't leave that Indian uh, mindset, like the way you enjoyed being Indian. Don't leave that behind. It's a part of you, and you should always embrace it. So yeah, there are some things that you should always, I think, keep in mind when you're feeling low, or when you're feeling that you've achieved something. Just make sure that stay neutral. Don't be too happy. Don't be too sad. Uh, I think that'll help most of the students.
Yeah, awesome, Mridul. Thanks a lot for covering a lot of things that probably many of things will be very new to the people hearing it, especially if they are planning to go abroad after their 12th standard. And congratulations on having done a great journey. And I also wish you do your masters in Canada soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Go
Thank
for
you.
it. Great, Mridul. Thanks a lot for taking your time today, and thanks a lot for connecting, accepting my invitation, and connecting with me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks a lot, Mridul.